So if you on my TikTok, you know I was doing a Revelation series. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it. So if you haven't seen the rest of the Revelation series, I suggest you go on my TikTok and just watch them. And they're not really long, just 60 seconds. There's 14 more of them. But so today we're starting chapter 15 of Revelations, and it's only 8 verses. So stay tuned, get into it, and let's learn by God. So in verse 1, it says, "And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, seven angels having the seven last plagues, for in them is filled up with the wrath of God." So what this is talking about the wrath of God, which is going to come upon the earth, the people who worship the beast and just worship his image, and who was just a part of the beast. And the beast is the Antichrist, this is, if you don't know. So that's basically what's happening. So the wrath is going to be bad on people, and it's going to be on the men and the people who are still living there that worship the beast. And we'll talk about more of that in the next episode, because I'm not the next episode, but the next video of Revelation chapter 16, because this is going to Revelation chapter 16. So we'll stay tuned. We'll stay tuned into Revelation chapter 15. So let's get into verse 2 right now. And so verse 2, it says, "And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God." So what this is talking about is talking about the people who have overcame the beast, who have victory over the beast and over his image, mark, and the number, and they will stand on a sea of glass having the harps of God. And if you know what the harp is, a musical instrument. Just to tell you that. And verse 3 says, "And they sing a song, they sing the song of Moses, and the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty, just and true. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints." And then I'm gonna go ahead and go to verse 4. "Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was open." So in verse 3, they were worshiping Jesus and Moses. They were singing a song to Moses, but then they were worshiping God and Jesus. And so they're just talking about their works and stuff. And talked about Jesus, the Lamb, which Jesus is the Lamb, saying this, how great and marvelous are thy works, and how just and true are thy ways. Like, they're just giving them praise for how they act and how they did their works. And so verse 4 talks about, it says, "Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest." So they're praising the Lord too. And they're saying that He's the only holy. He said, For thou art holy, for thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. Everybody's gonna have to you're gonna have to worship. All nations are gonna worship God. And that's facts. And verse 5 is talking about the temple of the tabernacle. And it says when it was open, and John says, "After that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was open. And the seven angels came out of the temple, having its seven plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles." And go on to 7. And one of the four beasts gave unto the seven angels the seven golden vials full of the wrath of God, who liveth for ever and ever. And we'll go on to 8. And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God, and from his power, and no man was able to enter into the temple till the seven plagues of the seven angels were fulfilled. So this is talking about the temple and everything. It's talking about that, and it's saying the angels came out of there, and they had pure and white linen. and they had their breasts girded with golden girdles. And one of the four, like the one of the four beasts gave them the vials, and the vials are the wrath of God, which shall be poured into the earth unto the people who worshipped and like fellowship with the beast. So that's what that was for. But the temple is the temple. No man will be able to enter into the temple until the 7 plagues of the angels were fulfilled. So nobody's going to be entered into the temple until the plague is like what everything that was in this book right here in verse 8 and what we talked about here is not going to be open again until it's fulfilled, until the prophecy is fulfilled. And remember, it is going to come true because God's prophecies are always true. Every single prophecy you've seen in the Bible have came true, and that's 100% facts. So stay tuned for next episode. Next episode is gonna be Revelation chapter 16, and we're gonna enjoy His word, and we're gonna learn something about His word. And if you haven't seen the rest of them, I suggest you go like watch them. They're not on YouTube, but they're on my TikTok. But go, I suggest you watch them. So thank you, and God bless you.